In a far-off house deep in a basement called Cybertron stands hundreds of small plastic robots who can morph and change their bodies into things like trucks and planes and maybe even a gun. They are called the Transformers. Hello, I'm Justin.
And I'm Kyle.
And we are the Mirror Twins, and today we're taking you on a tour of this man's, would you call it a man cave?
I call it Cybertron.
Which is Kyle's basement or Transformer Valhalla, I would say.
Kinda going for the museum vibe.
Just to give you an idea, I'm gonna pan around and let you see this place. This is one section of his basement, and it is nuts. We're gonna go through all of it fairly quickly because there's just so much stuff. This could be a 2-hour-long video, easy. But we're not gonna do that.
Most of this stuff is pretty recent. I don't have too many rare items. Most of this is the easy to get stuff. I have maybe a few pieces that were difficult to come by.
A lot of the shelving that you use were either hand-me-downs, you gotta add yard cells. Like Glom Gold always says, it's the best of the cheapest, or the freest.
People throw out nice stuff in my neighborhood. So a lot of this was either when our parents moved and I got shelves from them and stuff people were just throwing out.
Gotta save that money for more Transformers.
More for Transformers, that's
right. Before we show you all this awesome, cool stuff, Kyle wanted to say a few words about his opinion on collecting in general and how he views it and how maybe you have different opinions on it. So,
well, it's a personal philosophy, I guess.
You're going to write a book about this, right?
So there's no right and wrong way to do it, but I think there's better ways to do it. When we were kids, we collected a bunch of stuff. We even had Star Wars, which we were never that big into, but we had Dino Riders, we had Insectoids, Jason the Wheeled Warriors, if you remember that. Thundercats.
He-Man, G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe. We had a ton of G.I. Joe. You know, when I got older and I got my own house, I got rid of all of that, and I decided I'm only going to collect one thing, and that was Transformers. And it just made it easier. It makes your collection more cohesive. And I've watched other videos on YouTube about collecting. They said whatever you collect, make it make sense.
What made you choose Transformers?
It was my favorite. So I decided which of all these toys is my favorite. Which one do I get the most joy out of? Which one do I personally think is the coolest? And I went with Transformers.
Was that a hard decision? Or you were like, no, of course it's going to be Transformers?
No, it was always my favorite. Okay. Like, out of all the cool toys we had, Transformers were always my favorite, and that's why I decided to collect. And even within Transformers, I've culled the collection down to pretty much just the generation line. I don't do a lot of movies. I don't do Masterpiece anymore. When Japan was doing their own color variations, the Takara versions painted, I've got very few of those. I didn't go double dip, as they say, on the two different color variants.
What is your opinion about completionists? I know collectors fall down that rabbit hole pretty severely a lot of the times. I'm going to guess that you are not a completionist. I am definitely not a completionist. I collect Lego. If you want to have a wife and children and a house and mortgages, you can't be a completionist when it comes to Lego. They're too expensive and they come out with too much stuff.
That's every toy line, I think, now. There was a time maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago where you could collect all the Transformers they made. You can't do that now. They make too many, and some of them are really high-end. Completionist, no. In certain collections, I do collect them all. Like the Shattered Glass, we'll talk about that.
You do pick and choose.
If it's within generations, the header generations, I do collect almost all of those. Not all of them, but almost all of them.
You are not in the completionist mindset, oh, I gotta get all of this year's wave. It's like, no, I have that character. The older version of that character is better, so I'm gonna skip him and save a little bit of money. Does that ever bite you later?
Sometimes I've gone back and gotten stuff and I had to pay the inflated prices, but it's rare. But again, the subgenres, the subgroups, like I mentioned Shattered Glass, I did collect all of those.
In a very general sense, what is the right way to collect stuff? You were talking about pick your one thing.
Yeah, I would say...
Try not to be a completionist. What's another?
I would say your collection has to make sense. If you collect Marvel Legends, get the groups that you want. Don't collect all of them. Because again, even just within Marvel Legends, they make so many. It's so hard. Like, if you're not into the movie, don't get the movie figures. Just get the classic. If you like the movie, just get the movie stuff. If you want to pick and choose favorite characters.
Shall we delve into your dark time? When you didn't collect Transformers for like, what was it, an entire season?
Oh, yeah, when the movies came out.
In Lego collecting, I don't know if this is a term that's universal for collecting, but in Lego collecting, they call it your dark time or your dark period,
age.
where you like Legos. Did I say Legos? Oh my goodness. Where you like Lego and collect Lego as a child, and then you get out of it for a while, and then you come back to it. That time you get out of it is called your dark period or your dark time. Is that a universal term
That's
for
not
collecting?
used in Transformers.
Okay.
But, I'm sure. I mean, why not?
When you say to another Lego collector, like, when was your dark time? They know what you're talking about, so it might be a Lego specific
Maybe that
thing.
doesn't happen with Transformers.
I never left Transformers.
They're just in the shopping cart.
But we did collect, like, all the way up. Like, your dark time was very short.
Yeah, it was the Unicron trilogy, pretty much.
When the Michael Bay movies came out, there was a time where you said, no, I'm not doing this.
Yeah, after
and you
the
actually
second movie.
moved to Lego for a little while. Can you explain that and why that was?
It was back when they were focusing primarily on the movie. The first movie did so well. I got a lot of movie figures from the first. The aesthetic was very different. It didn't really fit into my collection. I was coming to find out some of the toys weren't even that great. Some were, some weren't. And then the second movie came out and it wasn't very good. And I was like, these are not very good. It's not what I wanted in Transformers. And, some people say the Bayverse Transformers, they don't even look like Transformers. But, that's an opinion.
No hardcore Transformer collector says the Bayverse is the best.
There's
people that like it, but no one's saying that's the best.
I don't, because even the people who their first experience was the movies, they still collect the G1 character. I don't know. I'm sure there's people who really like it, but I haven't heard that. That doesn't mean it hasn't.
Yeah, I think it means it hasn't.
You collect, you do you. You collect how you want, you collect what you want.
How long did that period last, where you were moved toward Lego for a short
3-4 years, I think.
That long? Okay,
Maybe.
I didn't realize. So you were just picking up one here or there.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like the full-on collecting that you did before or after. What ended that?
Just the toys got better. I think they had a new head of the brand, the Transformers brand, and he was just really good. Is that when they collectors wanted? He said he was a collector himself.
Is that when they leaned really hard into G1, or had they been doing that before?
I don't think that ever stopped. It certainly hasn't stopped now.
Gotta tickle that nostalgia bone.
But they had the really cool play patterns. They had the Headmasters, Titan Masters, they called it, and stuff like that.
Before we go around the room, we'll take one more quick look at this guy. Would you say this is the crowning achievement of your entire collection?
Yes. I don't know if I'd use those terms, but definitely a centerpiece. This is my Unicron, HasLab Unicron, the biggest Transformer ever. Definitely by volume. He weighs 3, almost 4 Titans, regular Titans. He's 19 pounds. I have some bicycle lights on him and some
brick lights.
Brick lights from the Atlanta Brick Company. They make them where you can have magnets and stuff like that, but then it's impossible to change the batteries. Or the batteries are right in here.
Yeah.
He can wink at you.
So the lights were extra.
Yeah. Opened up his head and put it in there.
So watch our video on that guy. Let's go around the room. Let's start with G1 and some of our original old toys.
Yeah, these were both of ours back in the day when we were 5, 6 years old. The memories. All right, here's our G1 collection. We have our original Optimus Prime. He's well played with. Got some paint missing, and this is a collection my father-in-law helped me get. He bought some out of his neighborhood, so I got a little bit better Optimus Prime. And these are the general retail release. They made pre-rub sign. They added the rub sign as to authenticate Transformers because bootlegging was so bad. This is a pre-rub sign red Bumblebee. So Bumblebee was originally, he could be red or yellow. The package was always yellow, but you could buy him in red or yellow. So I actually got that at a toy store downtown, a vintage toy store called Full Circle Toys. Yellow Cliff Jumper, also a pre-rub sign. And there's some mail order, what were these guys called? The Omnibots.
Omnibots.
Yeah.
So are these our Dinobots?
Yes, these 5 are ours. And then I got a second one from that collection. And one of these Perceptors is ours. And I got a second one back there from that collection.
And then here's the big boys in the bottom. Look how yellow poor Jetfire is. Oh my goodness. Okay, I know in Lego you can put them in hydrogen peroxide. Can you do that?
You have to take off the stickers or mask them off. And see, this is paint, so you can mask the paint off and then unyellow it, but it's a bigger deal. A lot of people, I've seen people whiten it and then they'll repaint it, or they'll get high-end stickers to replace it. But, you know, it's vintage. I'm going to leave them like that.
Do you have another Jetfire?
Nope.
He's too expensive?
That's ours from when we were kids.
All right, moving on to our Seekers, and we have Insecticons. That is the one toy we never got as children, and then someone got me that as a gift in college, because I always talked about how I never had a...
Actually,
or is that not that one?
That's not that one. We'll see the one from the gift in college.
Okay.
That's still in the box. So that came in the collection. A lot of these came in the collection. There's a G2 Starscream back there. Insecticons, you know, Soundwave, some tapes.
The original Devastator!
Oh yeah, got the original Devastator. Got almost a second set. Some of the Predacons. There's a Menasor, however you want to say it. There's G2 Bruticus. There's the mail order Reflector.
How did you get that? Because we did not have that. Okay.
That was also in the collection. And then down here we have our Cup, our Hot Rod, and then, you know, our Ultra Magnus. We had more of these, I guess, because we were older. We had more of the movie characters.
Mm-hmm.
That was almost complete. And then, you know, got a couple from that collection. And then these guys.
The 90s.
Yeah, the 90s. Oh, there's some Headmasters.
These are G2?
These, I guess they're under that umbrella, G2, yes. They changed Megatron from a gun to a tank, and he's purple. And the first G2 was green and black. And so this is like the second
and he was
version.
huge, too.
He was huge. He was twice that size. 3 times that size. And then these are the ones, the pump fire missiles. And I just remember taking these on vacation and shooting at each other.
Yeah, in the back of the car.
In the back of the car and at the hotel. We'd be on different beds and shoot each other.
And we never lost the missiles.
Nope.
We still have them.
Well, they're pretty big, so thank goodness. And we still have his gun. His little gun. Some jump starters. That is a reissue, the Japanese version. When this was released in America, it didn't have the extra. I think his name was God Bomber.
God Bomber.
Yeah, you know, crazy Japanese names. But this is Power Master Optimus Prime, released with the extra components, the extra little trailer. So here's a recent crossover with Jurassic Park in the box still, and then some movie characters. There's a bootleg, and then a little Predaking from the Beast Hunter set. So down here are, you'll probably remember these more because these are our Beast Wars characters. There's the Walmart exclusive Rat Trap, which he had the metallic blue. You unfortunately can't play with these much because the metallic just falls off. The red was the worst for some reason. Got a Optimus Primal.
Transmetal.
And the first and second version of Air Razor. And the Fusors got a, I think he's complete, depth charge back there.
And these are all vintage.
These are all vintage. Yes, they did make some reissues. None of these are reissues. These are all vintage, original from 96, 97, 98. And then some more, Beast Wars 2, Optimal Optimus.
Beast Wars got us back into it, right?
Yeah, I'd say so. I was not one of the ones who was like, truck not monkey. I just thought it was cool that these were the descendants, and it was just a neat story.
It was a good show.
It was a very good show.
So let's talk about these boxes real quick, because looking around, there should be way more boxes somewhere. So what are these? How come some of these are in the packages still? Tell us about that.
So these down here are characters in the package. Now most of these are unopened. There's a couple that are open. These are just, I got 2 of them because I thought they were awesome. Here's another unopened Back to the Future crossover. These are boxes that are empty. They're going to be broken down. I just haven't done it yet. So this is temporary storage. Here's an example of a, going to open him. This is a reissue of one of the Beast Wars characters. These up here are special edition. These were exclusives. Amazon exclusives, or Toys R Us
something
exclusives.
Special that you didn't want to break down the box, and we'll talk about that in a second, what you mean by that.
There's Japanese ones, Takara Tomy ones, and Entertainment Earth. That's an
I see you have some figures in there.
Senyo Comic Con. Yes, I just haven't moved those to their proper home. And then I got some vintage ones. So these were ones I picked up recently.
While we're on the subject of boxes, let's talk about Kyle's very unique way of dealing with packages. I have a rant on packages, but I'll let you explain what you do.
As far as I know, this is my idea.
So you don't remember getting this?
I don't remember getting this. I'm sure other people have thought of it, just nobody put it online. But I will throw away the insert, and I just keep the box and the instructions. So it has all the nice pretty pictures on it, and I just keep them in binders with page protectors. This isn't, perfect, but it works, and it takes up way less space. Most collectors will tell you just get rid of the box. You're not saving anything, but I mean the art is so good.
Once it's open, it's not worth anything anyway, right?
Not
like
for a long
the boxes
time.
aren't going to change
the value
that much.
No. Sometimes people like to have the instructions on vintage stuff, but who knows? They make so many now. You shouldn't collect to sell because
it's not an investment.
It's not an investment
for the pleasure of it.
Yeah, collect because you like it. But yeah, this is just how I do it. I try to keep it in chronological order, and I have binders and binders and binders of these. But they take up way less space. Like, all of these will fit in just a couple binders.
What is your opinion of Hasbro now moving to a plastic-less packaging where it's actually open and you can touch it and feel it?
Well, it's not ideal for collectors. They do it for environmental reasons, less plastic. And then what I also had heard, a rumor, unconfirmed, that they actually get taxed for having plastic in the packaging. So that was one way of helping themselves out, helping their profit margin, so they're not getting this extra tax.
What is your opinion of it as a collector?
It's fine. People complain a lot, and it's not ideal. It's nice to have the blister package, especially when you collect them and you want to display them. I open most of them. People are worried about people touching the toys and taking them out, but in Walmart, I've seen people open Lego boxes and take out the minifigures, and those are completely sealed in bags. So, I mean, what's the difference?
It's not stopping that much theft.
It's not stopping. No.
And you throw away the plastic anyway. And
I recycle it, yeah.
So my rant on packaging is that I hate packaging. Some of the figures I collect are very high-end, and they have this gorgeous packaging, and I hate that. Because I want to throw it away, but I feel guilty about it. So then it just becomes these boxes that just take up space. I like being able to see the product. I definitely like being able to look into it and have the window. But as far as packaging in general, I wish that was not the mentality. I wish there was some way to change the industry's mindset and to change collectors' mindset where there was almost no emphasis on packaging, that it is made to be thrown away. It is just there to protect the product, to get it into your hands, and once it's in your hands, throw it away.
Get rid of the box.
I love what Hasbro's doing as far as the environmental part to it, that hey, you can just throw this away, it's going to biodegrade, it's not nearly as bad as plastic, you don't have to worry about, or recycle. I understand from a marketing standpoint, it has been proven time and time again that people look for packaging to be eye-catching, that there is an intrinsic, almost subconscious value placed on packaging in a consumer's mind, and it's so hard to get away from that. I wish there was some way to change everyone's opinion on that.
They're forcing that change, I feel like, because people buy cars, they want to see the car. You can order a car online. You just look at pictures.
Yeah.
And so I think that's changing anyway. The cardboard's thinner now, so that's, less packaging and stuff like that, and some people complain, but like you said, it should be meant to throw away. Yeah. I totally agree with that. You shouldn't be a weirdo like me and collect a box.
There's a rant for another day, but I feel like the answer is not in recycling. The answer is in conservation.
Both.
When it comes in, recycling definitely helps, but that's not going to solve the problem. Conservation is going to solve the problem. And what the steps Hasbro is making is, in my opinion, the steps in the right direction. And I wish more toy companies were doing that, and to just change the mind of the industry.
Yeah, the high end, they want those packages.
Yeah, I hate that.
Which is, I disagree with it, but to each their own, right?
No, it's wrong.
All right, so these are the Human Alliance, and I like the detailed. I don't think they're quite to scale, but they're really close to scale. So these all transform. They came with a human character.
Were they licensed?
Yes. A lot of the movie was licensed. The race cars, they didn't get all the license on the sides, but they got a lot of them. Let's see. Yeah, so some movie ones, some Unicron trilogy that I've gotten later. We did pick up a couple of these when it was out, but not very many. It would have been just half this shelf. There's some early 2000s. There's from the video game, the War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron. There's some Back there, some aftermarket kits. There is... Somebody just gave me that. A Devastator from the movie. Here's some more recent ones. The first Commander class Jetfire. And a Earthrise Optimus Prime. And a, I think, pretty rare German car, the Volkswagen Beetle.
Yeah, because German car companies always said no to Hasbro for the license because they didn't want their vehicles to be associated with war.
Yeah, it was Lamborghini too. So a lot of Italian. It was pretty much all of Europe.
Okay, the ones involved in World War II.
The ones, yeah.
Except for the Japanese. They were fine with it.
But, you know,
because
time
it's
has
Transformers.
passed. Time heals all wounds.
So what do you think happened? What was different that they finally said, okay, yes, do the Volkswagen? You were telling me that's the official Volkswagen yellow as well.
Yes,
it's not the bright yellow.
You can't see it in bot mode, but he also has the official licensed Volkswagen hubcaps.
What do you think changed?
Probably money. And they just kind of lightened up a little bit.
Have they since then done more with German car companies?
They've made more Volkswagens, and they, for the masterpieces, they've actually gotten the Lamborghini and Ferrari. Not Ferrari?
Okay.
Maybe Ferrari.
So is that the first one? The first
I don't
German?
think it's the first one, because they made a masterpiece version of the movie
okay.
Bumblebee. So down here, some more recent ones. These are from the movie. Not original, of course. They got the Pit of Judgment. That's a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. Here's some more, just kind of a weird mix. Some more Headmasters. Another Ultra Magnus, and then this one's kind of sparse. These were the War for Cybertron characters, so these were the ones with extra paint to make them look dirty. But some collectors didn't like that. They said they like to make their toys dirty themselves.
Moving on to this shelf.
So these are some other ones. These were their first attempt at making G1 characters. Not really their first attempt,
but that was the one time they leaned really hard onto let's make an entire line of G1 influence.
And
right?
these were updated versions. So it was a modern Lamborghini. You know, they didn't is Lamborghini? Yeah, Lamborghini. They didn't have the license for it, so they were very similar. And that, you know, he's kind of a Porsche-ish looking car, but he was a modern Porsche. He wasn't an old 80s Porsche. And this is Transformers Prime with the re-release of the Japanese exclusive characters. They're still in the box. I haven't taken them out, and I haven't transformed these guys. Cool stuff. There's more of the same from the top. There's the last gun Megatron, I think, aside from Masterpiece. So he looks like a Nerf gun, which I think would be a cool crossover. They should do Nerf and Transformers. There's some more movie characters down there. The repaint of the Starscream with the G1 colors. And there's my first Optimus Prime with the Jetfire and blah, blah, blah. All those guys, movie. That's why they're on the bottom shelf in the dark.
Because they're movie.
Because they're movie. Here are the crossovers. I really like this line. I did not get the Top Gun one, but there's the Dracula. I didn't think he looked that good. Got the two different Ghostbusters, the original and the one from, is it Afterlife?
It's just paint deco that's different?
Yes, I believe so. They may have made some changes to the roof, I think. But it was minor. I think just a couple little fixes. Here is the recent Beast Wars characters. So just a year or two old.
Oh, the Tarantulas is out. I haven't seen him
Yes,
yet.
I just got him a few days ago.
Okay.
So he's very awesome. There's original Megatron. He is in his own little case by himself because if he falls, he will crumble into dust.
That's why you have three of them?
Yes, I have an unopened one and then two. One's permanently in robot mode and one's permanently in beast mode.
Because that's the gold plastic curse?
That is the gold plastic. It's really the brown plastic. I mean, Lego suffers from this too.
Yeah.
It's whatever dye that they use makes it brittle over time. It's not actually the gold color that you have. It's that dark brown.
Yeah.
And it's just becomes...
kind of brassy.
Yeah, it becomes inflexible.
And it just crumbles.
It just crumbles.
And our original broke, right? Which one's our original?
Robot mode.
Okay. And these we got a long time ago, those tiny Transformers?
Yes, these are Japanese exclusives, the world's smallest. Is that what they call them? There's a tiny non-transforming Optimus Prime and those teeny tiny ones that my wife painted that came with the Unicron.
And those actually transform, those ones we got, those
yes.
G1s from years ago. The Christmas Optimus Prime, what is that?
That is Super 7.
Oh, got it.
Non-transforming, I have
those reactions.
And then some Creo. right there. These are some recent acquisitions from some conventions I went to, some toy conventions. I went to Joe Latta, so I was able to find these guys for a pretty good deal. The Megatron's a little beat up, but I love those colors. Can you imagine a Megatron now being those colors? That's crazy. Here's the Shattered Glass.
So explain Shattered Glass.
It's an alternate universe where you have the evil Autobots and the heroic Decepticons. And so they're basically just palette swapped and moved around. There's the heroic Megatron with the noble Starscream and all the bad guys.
Have we come across any BotCon exclusives yet?
No, I have one. This is a collection I just made up myself. These are the Primes, the 13 original Primes. And some of them are actual Primes, and then some of them they're other characters that I just called Prime. And no one's going to agree with me, but I like it, so I'm going to do it.
And I made that hammer for you out of Lego.
Yes, you did. We have our 1984 erasers, Megatron and Optimus.
From when we were kids.
When we were kids. These are originals that we had when we were kids. We thought they were so cool we never used them. We have the Unicron box, which is 2 feet by 2 feet by 2 feet. Humongous box. Some of the boxes I just really love, so I didn't get rid of them. And then there's our original boxes when we were kids, and all the...
Is that a Toys R Us price tag?
Yes.
Oh my
Yes,
gosh.
it is. And our mom bought that for us from Toys R Us. This is a reissue Bumblebee. He's got the cartoon accurate head on it instead of the original. All the flaps are folded down because that's how they were wrapped. Mom would fold the flap down and wrap it for Christmas in Christmas paper, so all the flaps go down. But there's the original price tags. Moving along, this is the Megatron, still in the box, that someone got for you.
The story behind that is I would always talk about that was the one Transformer we never got that we really, really wanted, and we never found him. Mom never found him for us. And so someone I knew at the time who was very nice and generous bought me that. I think it was $150.
Yeah, it's worth way more than that now.
And it is a 100% vintage American release, completed G1 Megatron.
Yep, hard to find.
And it was bought for me probably early 2000s, before the vintage collecting really exploded.
Yeah.
So I think we got that at the right time.
Yeah, the box is a little rough, but it's all there. It's opened, of course. There's our original collector's set. That's ours from the 80s. Some other vintage stuff. And that was the first Hasbro, it wasn't Hasbro Pulse, Hasbro Collectors Club. First one I ever ordered online. That's the first toy I ever ordered online. There's the original Ultra Magnus, Dead Optimus box. There's the reissue I got at Full Circle Toys. Some more boxes. Some Masterpiece stuff. Here's Transformers Animated. I have a bunch of these. I have the Toys R Us exclusives. After the movie came out, they needed some sort of filler line to go in between the first two movies. So 2007, they came out with Transformers Animated. And the head of the Transformers department, I don't know his exact title, but his name was Derek Wyatt. And he came up with this concept. And he drew all the characters
himself.
He came up with the original concept design, and he didn't think anybody was going to go for it. So he drew whatever he wanted. He didn't try to make them look like...
And the idea was that it was very, very cartoony looking.
Very cartoony. It was originally going to be called Transformers Heroes. And that's what they were. They came to Earth, and they were basically like superheroes. They would stop supervillains. And then eventually the Decepticons showed up. But cool line, super cool toys, very different aesthetic. Just neat toys in general.
What was amazing is that the toys actually looked like the show. Yeah. And it had such a cartoony, crazy look, both in vehicle and robot mode. People thought, that's impossible. They'll never make toys of that. And they did.
Yeah,
and it works.
The toys look very similar to the show.
And you actually, this is the line that you have the one super exclusive.
Yes, this is a BotCon exclusive. I was able to get that for a reasonable price at a convention. It's the Cheetor off of the Blur mold. And then there's the Decepticons down there. So I have a lot of these. There's the Target exclusive, camouflaged, lockdown. And there's some Japanese, which aren't that rare, but...
How most Transformers collectors, how do they view animated right now? It was kind of hated because it was different when it came out, but now in retrospect...
Before the show came out, I don't think people were into it, but after the show came out, people saw how good it was. So I think it's remembered fondly. A lot of people say this is the best show.
The best show? Okay. Well, how about as a toy?
As a toy, people really like them. I mean, this was a really good toy line.
Moving down to our Titans.
All right, so some Titans, old and new. Devastator and Predaking and Omega Supreme. He's Supreme. Why?
Because he comes with tomatoes and sour cream.
That's right. Some Combiner Wars and a Trypticon. The recent Trypticon.
Funny story, this is our original cabinet from our house growing up. It's probably from the 70s. But it's a gigantic, super heavy oak cabinet that had lights in it. I remember Dad had his collectibles in it, and when Mom moved, she wanted to get rid of it, and you were like, I'll take it.
Yeah, I put it down here. My lights look kind of janky, but it's cheap. You know, I could have drilled holes in it and everything, but I want this to be very modular. So at any time I can change the collection around and move stuff. So I didn't do anything that's permanent. These lights are just held with tape. So at any time, if I want to move something, I can. These are masterpieces, and these are the only masterpieces I have because, you know, after I got him, I was pretty much done with masterpiece. There's a hybrid style, which is basically just a teeny tiny, pretty nice.
Does that transform?
It does. He kind of gets a bad rap, but I think he's a good toy. These are the alternators. These were 2-scale licensed cars. So these are all within scale, 1/24th scale, which was like a standard model scale. A lot of the earlier ones, all the engines transformed into their weapons. All of them had opening doors. Most of them had opening hoods and trunks.
And they're amazing because they look like real models. You wouldn't know they transformed.
They do, and it's so cool that they're, you know, I keep them in car mode, and I bought these pretty cheap on Amazon so I could have more in there. But they look really good. The shiny plastic looks like metal. And I had to pay aftermarket prices, but I did get the rare 2 Walmart exclusives. And they're probably the worst ones.
Really?
Yeah, just as a toy.
Okay.
They have the simplest transformation and just the most kibble.
I remember because we were still living at home when these were coming out and we were buying these. Some of these took literally 20 minutes to transform.
I'd say about 15 minutes just to line up all the panels. They're pretty complicated. The seats, you know, they all have seats. And, you know, most Transformers don't have an inside to the car because it's filled with robots.
Yeah.
But the robot is pretty much behind the seat.
And then we have our Combiner Wars guys.
Yeah, some more Combiner Wars.
And these are modular, right? You can switch the limbs?
Yep, you can move them all around. There's a Japanese exclusive I was able to get on Hasbro Pulse. All-female Combiner. 2 all-female Combiners. Some classic characters with some non-classic characters. So these are the Walmart exclusive cell-shaded Optimus and Megatron.
I remember I found you those on the way to Florida. They had them at a Florida Walmart that we stopped in, and we never saw those here, right? They're really hard to find for some reason.
Yeah, yes, these were really hard to find. The Walmart exclusive ones for some reason are hard to find. And here's some different Galvatrons. There's toy Galvatron. There's reformatting Galvatron. He's a lot of clear plastic, which people are scared of, but I haven't had a problem with. There's toy Cyclonus.
Why is he by himself? Is he that good?
He's sad. He is one of the floppiest Transformers I have. Very bad QC on him. He looks awesome, but unfortunately bad QC. Here's very, very recently, Speedia 5,500, the Walmart exclusive subline. So very cool. Got Cosmos. I was just lucky enough to find him. He's sold out everywhere. I just actually walked in the store and got him. So don't be jelly. And then just some I haven't been able to place where they're supposed to go. So there's another Alita one, another RC, and Red Cog. And that is another Walmart exclusive Evil Optimus Prime. Here's some more recent characters. These haven't been really placed yet. This is just like a holding cell, I guess, for them. And then down here, these are exclusives that were either Toys R Us exclusives or Amazon exclusives or stuff like that. There's my Toys R Us exclusive Headmaster RC.
I worked at Babies R Us, and I was able to get her on a really good discount thanks to my being buddy-buddy with the manager.
This is quite an array of colors. What
Mm-hmm.
what is up with that?
A lot of these characters are later G1.
Like G2? Oh, okay.
These were later G1 characters, so they, just add a little more character. The Monster Bots, I have those guys. There's the fourth one way back there. He was a general release, so he's not up there with his hard-to-find buddies. And then just some more Headmasters, or Titan Masters, as they're called. And then down here, some more Titan Masters. I got a lot of Titan Masters. This is when I was getting almost everything.
Why is that?
They were cool. They were just awesome. I just love that gimmick. No Japanese ones in here. They're all this Hasbro release. And there's some recent Dinobots. He looks like he's about to hurl because his horns are pointy and he can't stand up.
So it's Grimblock and what's his name?
Sludge and Slag.
Have they made the others in that scale yet?
Not yet. They're going to. They're going to at least make Swoop. Hopefully our Stegosaurus as well. Okay, and then the original Titan with some newer Titans. And this curio cabinet, somebody was selling this in my neighborhood for $200. I was like, $200. Most of the stuff I got was free. And then I looked up how much these cost. I was like, $200 is a great deal.
Oh, it slides.
Uh-huh. So that was lucky. Here's some Cyberverse characters. So I just thought these were neat toys. I looked at a lot of reviews because some of them were good, some of them weren't. So there's some cool Dinobots, which is my favorite group of characters, favorite team, I should say. And there's some from the Titan Masters, and then some older ones over there. And there's some, I just thought this guy was so cool. I got him at Full Circle as well. He just had a really cool paint job on him. And this is a character, fortunately he's missing all his accessories, but he is modeled after a G.I. Joe vehicle. So he's a sort of a crossover. And then some Insecticons down there from older series.
And then you have these two giant Titans.
More Titans, yes. Lots of Titans. This is Black Zarak, and he's just a recolor of Scorponok.
He was a Japanese character?
He was a Japanese-only character. He had a different head, and he came with this spear, and now the new one does. And this is a really cool character. It's the Ark. He's made to look like the last Autobot, which is a comic characters, which is something really cool they're doing now. They're doing more comic characters. And this cabinet, somebody was throwing this away. And they put it on our little neighborhood group and said, does anyone want this? And I was like, yoink. I snatched that up. I did have to replace that one panel with plexiglass. I had no idea how much plexiglass was. So I just got the one instead of all the levels. But yeah, plexiglass is expensive.
And here we have in the lost, forgotten corner is some just giant robots, stuff from when we were kids.
I call it Extra Mecha.
Extra Mecha.
So we have an original Mighty Morphin Power Ranger Megazord.
That we found at Toys R Us on sale.
Oh, I thought it was Big Lots.
Big Lots. It was Big Lots.
I think it was Big
sale.
Lots, and we got it super cheap. I used to have a lot of Gundam, got rid of them all. The only one I kept was the Perfect Grade Wing Zero. And there's Escaflowne, which only some of you are going to know what that is. And then, of course, the original Voltron.
That's not an original Voltron.
No, it's not an original. I thank you for pointing that out. That is a 25th anniversary edition, but it's off of the original mold. And here are the bootlegs. So there's a giant rat trap. Some of these were found at Big Lots, which you can't really get anymore, but I miss those days. So some bootlegs from Big Lots. Got some bootleg Transformers, bootleg Devastator, G2 Devastator.
This is the coolest bootleg down here. This weird
so this
amalgam dinosaur.
This is one of the reasons that they went to the rub sign. Because bootlegs, this is original.
So that's a vintage bootleg.
This is 1984 bootleg. And as you can see, it's sludge with a whole bunch of extra pieces. And these are kind of rare. It was a company called 4-Star. And they made lots of really cool bootlegs. He is missing some pieces. He had the clear neck, and that's gone. But
totally illegal, right?
Yeah.
How did you find that?
It was at Full Circle Toys. They had it, and I snatched it up. And this was also at Full Circle Toys. This is I think, first movie Bumblebee, but they made him red and made him Cliff Jumper. Or
Cliff Jumpor. He's in the round packaging, and it looks very much like a Transformer packaging, but
it's total
It's
BS.
the Camaro. It even has the logo, which is very illegal. But they did do a new head, or that head is from another toy or something. But that's the first Bumblebee mold. I'm pretty sure that's the first Bumblebee mold.
Total bootleg.
Yep. No Transformer logo. It's got whatever their symbol
They're
is.
okay stealing the Chevy symbol, but not the Transformer.
Yeah, I
logo.
guess.
They know who they're going to mess with and who they're not.
I guess. They're not afraid of Chevy. They're afraid of Hasbro. So what do you think?
This is amazing. I wish I could do this with my Lego area. I don't have this much space. I think this is amazing. I love that you take so much time and care, but yet still try to do it really frugally.
I appreciate you appreciating that.
I'm with you. It's the best of the cheapest, you know.
Yeah.
You do what you can on a budget because you got to save them sweet dollars to buy more Transformers.
That's true. And food.
You can live off nostalgia, can't you? At least for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, at least for a couple of weeks. Just water and nostalgia. Like a nostalgia sandwich. Sometimes I eat the cardboard box for extra nutrition.
How much are we not seeing? What's in storage? What have you not displayed?
Almost everything's out, which is recent. I did have a lot of stuff in boxes. My Leo Convoy, unfortunately, I'm so sad to say I lost. It's gone. I cannot find it. When we moved, I know I had it because I have the box, but it's gone.
Well, they just recently announced that they're going to do another one.
Yeah, they're redoing a new one. I'm definitely getting him. I thought he was such a cool character. I looked at him online. You can get him for not too much. It does hurt
The one you're missing, you mean?
The original, yeah. An original. And they have remade him. So
Do you think it's somewhere in the house or got lost in moving?
I don't know. It might be in a box somewhere, but it must have gotten put where...
Nothing else?
Yeah, there was no other Transformers.
Okay.
A lot of cool stuff. A lot of stuff I like. I don't think there's anything too rare.
It looks like Transformers are going to keep going. What are you going to do about space? Because it looks like you do have some more space on that side to add a couple others. Is that the plan?
Eventually, those shelves that you saw on the other side, when I get more tall cabinets, those will go in the cabinets. I originally was putting them in scenes, like battle scenes, but that looks very disorganized. It's better if they're just standing up, I found out. Just trial and error. And you can also fit a whole bunch more. The risers help a lot. You can fit more on the risers and stuff like that. There's more space here than it looks.
Can we pan up to look at this real quick? You have a wire shelf just hanging up. Could you explain what that is and why that's there?
I thought we were skipping that, but yes, I still play with my toys. So typically there's a table here, and these guys, I have the jets hanging from fishing wire, and I set up scenes
Where they're flying.
And I got some of the world's smallest Nerf basketball goals. I had Optimus Prime dunking on Megatron. So
I remember you asked me several years ago, should I get rid of the G1? I need more space. I'm going to continue doing this. Should I get rid of the G1? Because you were getting rid of some other things too. And I told you, as a collector, I think retrospectively you would regret that. Because yes, G1 isn't your thing, vintage isn't your thing, you just like collecting good toys. G1 as in the actual G1, not G1 as in the characters of the design aesthetic. And you ended up keeping them, and I think you agreed with me that, yeah, that was the right decision,
yeah, it was
right?
the smartest thing you've ever told me.
Yeah, to this date. And I will never get any better. I will never have
no,
better
there's always
advice.
room for improvement. Yeah, it's neat to see where they came from, and now that I actually have space, it's not that big of a deal anymore.
Yeah,
I don't want to do the vintage rabbit hole.
Because that's so expensive now.
It's so expensive. I get stuff when it's a really good deal or when it's something rare or kind of rare, like the pre-rub sign stuff. At Full Circle, they had a bloated Optimus Prime with an error box, which is super rare. You don't have to know what that is, but it was super rare. And I could have gotten it, but I didn't because it was very expensive.
Yeah.
And I already have 2 Optimus Primes.
Where do you see this collection going? Obviously Transformers is just going to keep on pumping it out until this nostalgia train eventually comes to a stop, probably in 3024 is my prediction.
When we're all dead.
Where do you see the line going? Are they going to continue to lean really hard into G1? What do you think?
Well, G1 fans are getting older, and I think there is always probably going to be a market for a G1 looking Optimus Prime, but they just introduced Transformers Legacy Evolution, and they're going back to the Unicron trilogy and Beast Wars.
Things that are now old enough to be nostalgic.
That's going to be 20, 30 years
not too long from now.
What do you want to see from Hasbro?
I don't mind if they get away from G1. I'd like to see the other characters. I'd like to see comic characters that only appear in comics, and they're starting to do that. Tarn, which you probably don't even know who he is.
I do.
So
I watched the video.
He looks very cool, and it would be nice to get some of the female Autobots that they have only appeared in the comics, like Anode and...
You said you don't really go into masterpieces anymore.
No.
And you're kind of done with them. Why is that?
One is the price. Two is the recent ones are so good. They're like mini masterpieces, and a lot of people have used that term. I didn't make that up, but they're really good.
Is there a masterpiece? If they came out with it, you'd be like, I'd break my vow of no masterpieces if they made this one.
No.
Not even Transmetal Megatron?
Masterpiece? No. Because he'd
Okay.
be like $300.
Okay.
No, I would love to see a leader class Transmetal Megatron.
Do you think that's coming?
I hope so. I think it's weird because they made Beast Wars Megatron, they made Transmetal 2 Megatron. Where's Transmetal 1 Megatron? Hopefully he's coming. Some of the Japanese characters, like Desaurus, I think would be great as a commander class, one of the larger ones. He came with a lot of extra characters and pieces and weapons, and I think his size would fit into the commander class. I mean, those are opinions of one collector.
You named a lot already, but is there one that you really wish? Man, they need to make that right away. Now, I need that in my collection.
Desaurus would be neat. A tidal wave. Titan class tidal wave. You know, a tidal wave that's almost as tall as him.
Okay.
From the Unicron trilogy. Because he was an enormous character. He was in the video game, and he was a boss, and you were tiny compared to him.
I know it's hard to pick, but do you have a favorite Transformer or a favorite genre right now?
Again, I like the Generations. I think that's just right where the aesthetic that I like. You know, they're evolving the aesthetic over time. You know, they're getting more cartoony, which is not bad. It's different, but I just like that aesthetic. Favorite Transformer? I don't know. They're all so awesome. But I think I like the aesthetic of the Earthrise and stuff like that better, where they're very detailed. They're more detailed than the cartoon, but still they're very cartoony.
Well, thank you so much. If you like this content, give it a subscribe and let us know what else you want to see from us in the future. Thank you, Kyle, for letting us into your home once again and seeing all this amazing Transformer-ness. Uh-oh, he's got one more thing to show us. Well, subscribe while we're waiting.
Botbots are amazing. I love Botbots. It's Shopkins, but Transformers. These are amazing. Some of them are really awesome, and some of them are not very awesome.
Let us know what else you want to see. Do all the things.
Let's do your Lego collection.
No, it would take me months to get it ready. It's not anywhere near this organized.
Rome wasn't built in a day.
We'll talk to you again very soon. Thank you.